truly show I love you? How can I truly say? How can I say I need you? How can I really say I'm feeling? How can I truly say? How can I truly show that I love you? How can I truly say how I need you? How can I really share what I'm feeling? Can I reveal my heart as I'm kneeling? How can I truly show truly that I love you? How can I truly say truly how I need you? How can I really share what I'm feeling? Can I reveal my heart as I am kneeling? How can I ever learn your compassion? Covered and clothed with Christ for my fashion. Turning aside, I feel godly sorrow.
Let me just confirm my
you confidently secure my tomorrow. How can I truly show truly that I love you? How can I truly say truly how I need you? How can I really share what I'm feeling? Can I reveal my heart as I am kneeling? How can I truly show?
Okay, so yeah, this is grand. This is grand. There's a work for some time. All right, I've been trying to come up with this. I've been trying to come up with this. Let me just keep this guy online so that I can see the changes. Okay, all right. So yes, I want to discuss the great prophecies. I think for some time I've been discussing. For some time now I've been discussing Daniel chapter 8 so much. The trust or the effort I have put behind it, the effort I've put behind that subject, I think is has been enormous and good enough to raise appetite for those who are keen, or for those who want to understand these prophecies, or who are waiting. Okay, so for those who are waiting, those who want to understand the prophecies, you get them as the seeker of truth is discussing. Okay, you're free to have questions, you're free to object. That's how we learn. Okay, once you object, then that means study is opened again and someone has to go and do that, reread again, or address the subject again and again and again. Okay, so the seeker of truth is a platform where we seek. Okay, we seek. The idea is to open our eyes, just to have an eyesight, just like an eagle. Okay, that's the emblem. So I'm gonna try and make this the logo or something, but that's the understanding. That's the idea. The seeker of truth, the one that has eyes penetrating, going beyond fields to gain the concepts, to question, to seek answers, to research, and to gain understanding. So today, join with me. I am I came with 3 guys on my side. One of them is called Daniel the prophet. I think Daniel the prophet, the highly favored one. We are familiar with him from the Old Testament. Okay, Daniel the prophet. So we're gonna visit one more time, and I think I'll expound on one part which I think I didn't give much effort or thrust in my previous videos and previous discussions. And the other one I'm going to discuss is John the Beloved. John the Beloved. John the Beloved is John the Revelator, the one who was instrumental in the writing of the book of Revelation. Okay, it was given by Yahweh to Yeshua to the angel, and the angel to the messenger to the churches. So John the Beloved stands in there to document that which he was given. So we're gonna look at John, what he wrote, okay? And we are going to see also a guy called Ezra. I think this is the part which is interesting, because I know we are not familiar with Ezra having written any prophecies, especially much of the Christian churches that we are today. Okay, there are books which have been labeled as apocryphal, and apocryphal books are under legends where we don't read them. They are like the dark part of the spiritual writings, you know. So we don't entertain them. But it's unfortunate why we don't entertain, because the Bible itself, you know, if you read the book of Joshua, when he's discussing the issue of the sun that stopped, he said, refer to the book of Joshua, because it is written as it is written in the book of Joshua. So they had knowledge. They had knowledge of the book of Joshua. It was part of them. So we find the book of Ezra. So we have the book of Ezra that we read, which is included in the canon, or the Old Testament as we know it. But Ezra has another writing, he has other writings which were not documented, which carry some great prophecies. And today I'm going to introduce to some who do not know the prophecies of Ezra, and to show you how Ezra refers himself to the prophecies of Daniel. Yes, Ezra himself, he is mentioning Daniel the prophet, Daniel the highly favored, and he is saying that the vision that I was given was an addition on what Daniel was given. Okay, so it's coming as a clarity, or it's edifying, it's giving more info to what Daniel was given. So we'll get in, and you get the idea which part was given to Ezra to edify on what was given to Daniel. All right, and also we get Ezra. This is the part which has prompted me to have this presentation, is that Ezra discusses Revelation, discusses the book of Revelation, the visions that were seen by John the Revelator. That's the part which is interesting. That's the part which kicks everything. It kicks everything to the walls. We just need to open the book of Esdras. Okay, so Ezra is the translation we have in English, but then the translation you might use, or which was used there, is Esdras. I think this is the Grecian or Latin. I'm not sure which, but it's Esdras. Okay, so it's referred to as Esdras. There's Esdras 1, there's Esdras 2. Okay, so yep. Now I have just briefly introduced Daniel. His prophecies for Daniel is the one that we are going to center on, is the unto 2,300 days. Okay, unto 2,300 days. That's the one we're going to center on. And we have the prophecy by John the Revelator, which concerns the woman who was clothed with the sun, the moon, and stars. Okay, the woman who was clothed with the sun, the moon, and the stars. This is Revelation chapter 12. The last one we're going to look at, which is the second in this case, is the three-headed eagle. This is the vision that was given to Esdras, the three-headed eagle. But you'd find that it was given by Uriel. Okay, so you would find that in as much as we are going to discuss Esdras, you would find that even Ezra, he links with the book of Revelation, particularly, or in this case, we're going to be referring to Ezra, Revelation chapter 17. Okay, Revelation chapter 17, the 8 kings, the seven hills, or the 7 mountains, which are 7 kings, and particularly, or interesting verse will be Revelation 17:10, where he says that and one is, okay, 5 are fallen and 1 is, okay. That is the part which will be very interesting as we're going to go into this. All right, yes. So that's the introduction I would give. Okay, let's move now. I'm going to follow my I'll be following my slides today. I'm gonna be hard on time. Okay, yes. So let's first look into, I think this current slide I have now have been prompted by fellow, should I say, Christians or believers who have taken the school of thought that says we don't have to concern ourselves with the issue of prophecies and time and where we are and where we are going. We don't have to concern ourselves with that, because if we just live, imagine if we just live in a Christian way, or what is it, in a way that is expected of a Christian, then in the end what's going to happen is that we are going to be found waiting, or we're going to be found behaving as Christians. So many have taken this school of thought, and they have so much comfort in that. Okay, this is where I want to come in and say that comfort zone is not good. That comfort zone is not safe. I've heard people who say, pastors, preachers, elders, who say, forget about the prophecies, forget about them. Okay, do not even listen. The only thing that matters is that we live and behave as Christians. That's the only thing that matters. Forget about the prophecies. So Revelation chapter 1 verse 3, okay, it says, blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of the prophecy, and keep those things which are written, for the time is at hand. Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of the prophecy, and keep those things which are written, for the time is at hand. We have to be timeless. Prophecy, what it does is it makes us time conscious. It makes us time conscious. When you're not time conscious, there are various things that might happen. Okay, for example, I'll give you an example. When I was still in secondary school, I went to a boarding school. Okay, I went to a boarding school, and the thing is that when you are at a boarding school, there is one particular day which was very, very important. Okay, one particular day which was very important. That day was called the home goal. Okay, the home goal. The home goal was a description for the day when we had to leave school and go back home to our parents, or home where we come from, to our guidance, things like that. That day was interesting. Okay, the day you knew when was home goal. Okay, the day you understood when was home goal, this is what begin to happen. You begin to prepare. You start looking for money to pay for the bus. Okay, you start calling home. Can I have money for bus? If you don't have money, I need transport. I need to come home. Okay, some begin to take starts of their tuck or food in the food trunk. Okay, to see how much they have, how much they have to eat. They have to finish what has to be finished. All right, they have to be done with some things. All right, and some things they had to continue with them. Okay, so this is the part which was interesting. There is the preparation. When you know the day of homegoing, you begin to prepare. When you know, when you have understanding, when is it going to be, you begin to prepare. If you don't know this day, you cannot prepare to go home. Okay, if you don't know that day, you cannot prepare. You cannot even ask money for bus fare. You cannot even make provisions for going home. I think this is the class of the 5 foolish virgins. Okay, they had kept themselves waiting or living as expected of Christians, but did not make provisions for the journey thereof. Okay, understanding the prophecies make you equip yourself or get ready for what is about to happen. You see, there is a further testimony on this is on Habakkuk 2 verse 2 to 4. Write the vision and make it plain upon the tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. The vision is not now, but then the one who reads about the vision, this is what he must do. He must begin to run. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come and it will not tarry. Verse 4, I like the paraphrased one where it says, but the just shall live by his faith. When he has understood the prophecies, he begins to run. He gets into a class of those who are called the just, because by then he begin to live on his faith. You see how the importance of understanding the prophecies. Okay, well, for this intro, or for this words that I say, okay, do not let it not be my prophecy, or this brother Abraham was talking like this. Okay, let it not be my prophecy, but let it be your understanding that you have done something. You have gone an extra mile to read, to open the scripture, to have this understanding by yourself. But if you cannot, then listen to those who are taking the time to read so, and that you also might benefit from their understandings or their discoveries or the wisdom that has been gained. All right? Yes. Interesting what Habakkuk had to say. Part 1. I will not put much emphasis on this. Okay, I will not put much emphasis on this. Matthew chapter 24 verse 15. Whenever therefore ye may see the abomination of desolation that was spoken through Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoever is reading, let him observe. Let him observe. Okay, that's one part. Yeshua, this is Jesus who is speaking, and he says that whoever understands the prophecy of Daniel the prophet, especially when he's talking about the abomination of desolation, this is what is mentioned in Daniel chapter 8 verse 13, okay, when that saint was asking the other saint, and he is saying, how long shall be the abomination? All right, how long shall be the abomination of desolation, or that leads to desolation? Okay, how long shall it be? For how long shall it keep going? For how long shall it be going on and on and on and on? He asked about the abomination of desolation. I think that's one part which is very important, which people need to observe or to understand, that Yeshua's question or a Yeshua commentary on Daniel the prophet was specific for Daniel chapter 8 verse 13, because in that he was speaking about the signs. When and what will be the signs of thy coming? And Yeshua, he pointed to the greatest and the longest prophecy of all time given by Daniel. All right, so that was, if you understand this admonition from Yeshua, okay. And the reply to that then was that Daniel chapter 8 verse 14, and he said to me, unto 2,300 days then is the holy place declared. Unto 2,300 days then is the holy place declared. Right. Listen to this version that I've used. It's called YLT, that's Young Literal Translation. It varies from King James Version on this verse. Okay, I like how it ends, that then is the holy place declared right. Okay, the holy place is declared right. It's not that it is cleansed, all right, but it is declared, or judgment is given, that why have you done this over the holy place? Okay, yes. So the next then, which I think is the part which in the long story of Daniel chapter 8 verse 23, I've gone over this again and again and again, but the one part which I think I did not expound on is this verse. Very interesting. Daniel chapter 8 verse 23, it says, if you have a Bible, just read, or you can take, well, by then you can pause. I know, so I'm gonna watch this after I'm done. Okay, so you can pause and take your Bible, go through it and understand. Okay, or use your tablet, your smartphones, your whatever gadget, okay, to go through exactly what I am discussing as well. Okay, so there is this verse, and it reads, and in the latter time of their kingdom. Listen to this. There's a part which I want you to come with me. It says, and in the latter time of their kingdom. All right. So he is carrying forward from Daniel chapter 8 verse 22, okay, which says that the big horn out of the goat, he is broken by himself, and after him four would come up. Okay, so after he says four would come up, but not in his own kingdom, then he says this, and in the latter time of their kingdom. That's the part. In the latter time of their kingdom. So we are still carrying the idea that he is discussing the four. These are the four generals of Alexander, they who come after Alexander, or who go after the scramble for the Grecian Empire. Okay. The next phrase is what is wrong in this verse, or in, let me not say in this verse, but in this translation, where it says, when the transgressors are come to full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding, dark sentences shall stand up. So in their later time of their kingdom, that sounds straightforward. Okay, If I jump that phrase which is in between, which says, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up, which is straightforward. The part which is not straightforward is the part which says, when the transgressors are come to full. Whoa, no. Wait. We were trying to go through simple English. When the transgressors, so the transgressor, to transgress is to break the law. When the transgressors, okay, the transgressors are the ones who are breaking the law, okay, are come to full. So the question is, how does those who are breaking the law become full? Do you get the disparity here? Do you get the question? How can a noun get full? How can an individual get full? Okay, how can an individual get full? How can the perpetrator get full? So this is the part which I found interesting, and I went to investigate. All right, I went to investigate the originals. What do we get? The problematic part which says, when the transgressors are come to full. The questions are, who or what is being referred to as the transgressors? Okay, who or what is being referred to as the transgressors? No. To develop the question further, transgressors as in a noun, how do they become full? I mean, is it they have to grow up to a certain level to become full? What is the composition of them become full? What determines them to them being full? Yeah. Okay. So this is what I found. So when you look into the word, the transgressors there, okay, the word transgressors there in the lexicon concordance, it says that it's H6586. The word is pasha. All right, pasha. Listen how it is described. Pasha, to rebel or to revolt. So besides being a transgressor, the same word is used actually several times. It is used not as transgressor, but as a rebel or as a revolt. Okay, so when he is saying transgressors, okay, or yes, transgressors, actually it's referring to the revolts which were happening between the generals of Alexander. The 4 generals, they engaged themselves in these fights. You know, they had wars. They called the Diadochi, the wars of the Diadochi, or the Diadochi wars. Okay, they amount to, I think, about 5 wars of the Diadochi among the primary generals. Okay, so I think that's very important to note, because some people, when they go into history, they would find that they have there is the states as occupied by the generals. They continue in time, but the issue or the discussion here was about the primary or the original generals. Yeah, the original generals which took from Alexander. Okay, those are the ones we are discussing when the verse says in the latter part of their kingdom. It is those original generals of Alexander. Okay, I think with one exception of one general who died sometime, I think 309 or 3 AD, not because of war or he was attacked, but he was just sick and he died, and he was inherited in from the family. I think it's a brother also, or cousin, or an uncle who took over from him. Okay, but otherwise the rest who continued were the same. All right, and these are what are important. They were the revolts of these generals. So when the word is saying the pasha is discussing the participants of the Diadochi wars, the 4 generals of Alexander the Great. You see now, it's different. Okay, because when you say transgressors coming to full, you will not, it doesn't carry the meaning. But when you understand it as the revolts of these generals, when they come to full, when they come to the peak of their time, the revolts when they come to the peak. Let's look at the word full, the word that is used as full or to mature. Okay, it's very interesting. I was laughing to myself. This word, Hebrews, the concordance lexicon 8552, H8552. The word is tamam. Tamam. You find this is in Hebrew, tamam. You also find the same word in Arabic. Okay, in Arabic you'll find the same word tamam with a slight understanding, but it carries the meaning. Okay, to be finished or to be completed, to be at an end or to cease. So if you read the verse again one more time, it will say, if you go back to read the verse one more time, it says, and in the latter time of their kingdom, when their revolts have ceased or have completed or have finished, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up. Hallelujah. Amen. Amen. I think you need to say amen to that. Yeah, it makes sense. It becomes a perfect sense. It is there. The word tamam in Arabic language, other than meaning completed or finish or end, it means that which is fine. Okay, yes, that is what has been completed or have been done. Tamam, that which is okay, which is good. Tamam. All right. So there's a slight variation in understanding, but it carries the idea of completion, of being at ease or having ceased, maybe to labor or to do anything but tamam. Okay, you find it also in Hebrew. Okay, so having understood that, then I need to digress or to jump a little back to Daniel chapter 7 verse 8, which says, after 3 had been uprooted completely, then comes the little horn. I'm just trying to follow the thread, how the idea the idea was propagated from one vision to another and to another vision. Okay, so in Daniel 7:8 it says, and after 3 had been uprooted completely. So the uprooted completely, that means when they have died. That's the point there, which is being transferred. When the 3 have died or they have passed away. Okay, some English I found from the Indian and which was an Indian culture, where they said when 3 had expired. Okay, when the 3 had expired, meaning when they had died. The point then is that then is the little horn. Okay, it agrees with Daniel chapter 8 verse 9. Out of one of them, precisely after 3 had been removed or are dead. That is chapter 8 verse 23, the verse that I was describing just now. Okay, when their revolts against each other are completed, at the end 3 of the horns, at the end, death of 3 of the horns, and this should be after Alexander the Great. Daniel chapter 8 verse 22. All right, so that's I'm just checking the trail on that part. Okay, Esdras. This one I can skip because I'm going to come back to this passage in depth later on. Okay, I'll come back to this part in depth. Second Esdras 12:10-11, and he said unto me, and this the interpretation of the vision. Wow. So okay, why I included it here is the mentioning of Daniel. Okay, so Esdras 2 verse 12, 10 to 11, and he said unto me, and this the interpretation of the vision, the eagle. So Ezra was given the vision of an eagle. Now he's going to on verse 10. He says, verse 11, the eagle whom thou sawest come up from the sea is the kingdom which was seen in a vision by your brother Daniel. So, but it was not expounded unto him, therefore now I declare it unto thee. So why are you throwing away the book? Why are you throwing away the book of Esdras, when the book of Esdras, he is actually alluding to what is being taught by Daniel? They are sort of like contemporaries. Yeah, they're sort of like contemporaries. One is writing after the other. He sort of like gains understanding from the writing of Daniel, and then he gets more understanding on it and he expounds it. And Daniel was given his vision, okay, by Gabriel, or had his vision explained by Gabriel. And in Esdras' case is another watcher or another messenger, another angel called Uriel, okay, Uriel, okay. So he's the one who is expounding to Daniel. So you see, for me, it's this link which is important. If these testimonies, if these writings agree, who then declares them not to who then declares them to be separate? They agree. I don't see why one cannot read the book of Joshua, because if the book of Joshua, if the book of Kings mentions the things that happened in the book of Joshua, then I'm not sure. I don't follow why we should discard the book of Joshua. Okay, I'm not sure why we should do that. All right, but it's interesting that Esdras mentions Daniel. Okay, just as much as Yeshua, Jesus, in Matthew 24 mentions the book of Daniel, so does Esdras. Okay, so for me, he is worthy of my effort to go and search and find what he is saying. All right, so this is the under 2,300 days. Okay, quite scary, brother. Okay, so let's have this understanding now. The three generals in after Alexander, okay, that these three generals, they died in a space of 1 year. Okay, the last of them to die, it was in 281 BC. Okay, 281 BC. The time frame, I think, around the month of August and September, thereabout. Okay, so those months are interesting to be incorporated in these calculations, because then they will mean a lot in the calculations. But I just didn't want to appear fanatic, like some are calling me already, that I'm being a fanatic of this prophecy and putting deaths. And they say it's dangerous, brother, it's dangerous. Hey, what is dangerous? If it was given, if the dates were given, then they are to be known. Okay, no, I like Peter when he's saying that no scripture is given for private interpretation. Okay, no prophecy was given for private interpretation. It's all given that everyone should understand them, and here we are trying to understand them. Okay, so bear with me and let's understand this. So those three generals which I was discussing of Alexander, out of the four, okay, three of them, they made their demise around 282 to 281 BC. All right, then that time, it's the issue is about the time. It's not about the remaining the remaining general, that he was the little horn. No. It's that time which we are looking for, the time when it begins. It's the time frame. The argument in Daniel chapter 9 verse 14, or Daniel chapter 8, the whole of it, is about time, not the identity of the little horn. Gabriel didn't give anyone the right to identify who the little horn was. There is no, even by speculation, he didn't leave us a trace to speculate who the little horn was. When we speculate because of Daniel chapter 7, all right, because there is a dragon, we are so wrong. We are so wrong in that speculation that then it should be Papa and the pagan Rome. We are so wrong. Why we are so wrong is because of Revelations chapter 12. The dragon, the dreadful dragon. That dragon is the one that is mentioned in Daniel 7. It is one and the same thing. It's one and the same thing. Unless you want to tell me that it was Rome. Daniel chapter 7 discusses the dreadful dragon, the fourth beast, as Rome, and yet Revelations chapter 12 describes the dreadful beast, which had the same description as that one, and then he described it as the devil himself, as Lucifer. Then I don't understand how you separate, how your meaning is being derived. They are the same thing. The issue is with the horns. These are what you're supposed to understand. And Gabriel makes mention in chapter 8 that he is discussing kings and not kingdoms. Kings. Yeah? So enough for that. You can come later on. Anyone who's interested on this question or wants to have more insight, or to have more insight to my understanding of this unto 2,300 days, I made one video. Okay, it's there on Facebook, or you can come privately. We can do one-on-one discussions on Zoom and platform you are okay with. We can continue. Okay. But I like the part which continues in Revelation chapter 12 verse 7 and 11. 11 and 12. Actually, when you read those, they are very interesting, because what they say is that when the abomination of desolation is set up, when the abomination of desolation is set up, there is to be, when that is set up, okay, when it has come, all right. So when it has come, we are on the home run. Okay, we are on the home run, or we are on the last streak. We are on the last 7 years. Okay, we are on the last streak, and this last streak, the issue with the last streak is this, that it will be it's going to constitute, to start with, of 1,290 days. That's what he says. Read Daniel chapter 12 verse 11. There is going to be 1,290. I'm going to come to verse 7, which says a time, times, and half a time. Okay, I'm going to come to that. So after he talks about the 1,290, he goes on in verse 12 and said, "Blessed is he who gets to 1,335." So before my understanding was that both these 1,335 should start from the same point where the 2,300 days come to an end. Okay, this is how I had done it previously. If you find one pictorial that I'd made, one pictorial chart that I made, it says that the 1,290 and the 1,335, they start on the same point. But however, I I strongly believe that they are different, but they come successively. Okay, the 2,300 will end, and then comes the 1,290. Okay, when that ends, then you come to 1,335, and this, voila, it will take you to 2027. 2027. This is where it has been interesting now. Yeah, this has been it where it has been interesting, because the other two prophecies, they all push and come to 2027. Okay, I'm going to go through with you now, all right, so that you can see how then these come and link together. And this is where it is important. I'm going to give you the biblical evidence. It is there. Okay, it is there, everything, but you need to look and to know where to look. Okay, so the second part of my understanding is coming of my discussion. So that was the Daniel prophecy. That's the great prophecy of Daniel. So I just went like in short, because I've done that one on length. If you want, you can visit later on, see the full understanding that I have on that. Now I want to discuss the second part, which is Revelation chapter 12. Is the second part now. This is a killer. This which was given by John the Beloved is a crucial point. I've heard so many preachers, they say no, there's no chronology in this. Okay, there's no chronology in this. I would mention names, but I don't think it's fine. Let me just proceed with my discussion. Okay, so they say that this Revelation chapter 12 is starting from the birth of Jesus, when the child is born, and then it continues. Nah. You see, when the Bible says, and a sign would be shown in heaven, you know what was a sign was seen in heaven? I remembered Genesis chapter 1 verse 14, and these things were given as signs. Is it verse 14? Genesis chapter 1 verse sorry, I want these verses to stick in my mind. Yeah, verse 14. Yes, correct. I'm correct. Okay, I'm correct. And he says, let these luminaries, let the sun, let the moon, let the stars be for signs in the heaven. Let them be for signs in the heavens, and to mark the seasons. And what else? Let them be for signs, for seasons, for days, and for years. But you know what? In all my attendance to church, since when I was a boy, I never heard about a sign. When these four, when the sun, the moon, and the stars gave us a sign. Psalms chapter 19, it goes on to say the heavens proclaim the glory of God. Night after night they speaketh knowledge and wisdom. What knowledge and wisdom? What knowledge and wisdom? Unless you need to go into that, gain understanding. Voila. Thank you for joining me. Thank you so for joining. You will find out there is something we have missed. Then there we go. Revelation chapter 12 verse 1 and 2. It says, and a great sign was seen in heaven, a woman arrayed, I said arranged, it's arrayed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, she doth cry out, travailing and pained to bring forth. And you see this part. Actually, when I was reading this, I thought of Nicodemus, John chapter 3 verse 10. I thought of Nicodemus, because people, many scholars and many presenters, they like to say that the woman who travailed with the child and who was pained to bring forth, this should be Mary. This should be Mary. And this is where the problem is. Because you are thinking like Nicodemus. You're thinking like Nicodemus, that the only pain that a woman can travail, or that a woman can go through to bring birth, is one of the physical. This is why if you go to John 3 verse 10, Nicodemus keeps on asking, and he's saying, what exactly are you talking about? You can watch a sermon by Henry Wright. Okay, Henry Wright. He preaches about a sermon called "It's About You." Is it? It's about you. Yeah, I think it's called "It's About You." He talks about Nicodemus, the childishness in Nicodemus' questions. Okay, and until Jesus asked him in John 3 verse 10 and say, "Art thou not a master of Israel, and knowest not these things? Are you not a teacher in Israel? Are you not a master of Israel, and knowest not these things, that birth by a woman is not only talking about the physical, but it is talking about one who is born of the Spirit." Wow. And exactly his argument, Yeshua, he was referring to Isaiah chapter 66. Isaiah 66. Go and read it on your own time, okay? Go and read it on your own time, but write it down. Isaiah 66. When you read Isaiah 66, the argument that is there is how God is going to redeem his own people. Okay, how he is going to redeem Israel in the time of his need, in his time of pain. All right, and he says that have you heard such a thing? Has ever such a thing been heard, that a woman who is in labor shall give birth to a male son without birth pangs? Have you ever heard that a nation is born in a day? Bang! That was the story. And this is the issue now in this subject where he is talking. It's about the birth of a nation. It's about the birth of the nation, a birth of a nation. And precisely from when? From the time the sign is to be seen. When is the sign to be seen? Voila, you're with me. Stay with me. Wow, stay with me. I'm gonna consume your time, but stay with me. Look at this. So if you can check out, I'm not sure if I'm not blocking. Yeah, I've been blocking. There is the moon you see on the woman. So I've been discussing with some other guys, and they said, man, what you are discussing, this is mythology, or the Grecian mythology, okay, that you are showing or that you are referencing to. But let me tell you something. What they call the Grecian mythology, they got those mythologies from the Hebrew people. Those mythologies, they got them. They were subjects they took from the Hebrew people, but they customized them in their culture and context, and they drifted from the truth. But however, they were taking, or they were drinking from the teachings of the Hebrew people. Precisely, these are stars. These were the mentioning of the sons of Jacob. Okay, they were mentioning the sons of Jacob. If you want an in-depth in this part of what the sons of Jacob knew, go to the book of Joshua. Okay, go and read the book of Joshua. The book of Joshua, where it talks about the brothers of Joseph coming to Egypt. Okay, the second trip when they came with Benjamin. Okay, when you read that part, you'd understand that it was them. It was the Hebrew who had divided the cosmos, all right, to identify themselves, or they had given them in such a way that each star as we know today, each collection as we know today, it was referring to one son of Jacob. Like Leo, it was referring to Judah. All right, Leo was referring to Judah. There's a few I still recall, but maybe I'll do a presentation just to show, to reflect the knowledge that the Hebrew people had. Okay, and all of them of the 12, they had a reference to the sons of Jacob. Okay, to the sons of Jacob, and who the bull, even the woman, the two fish. One of the sons of Jacob was a fisherman. It was actually an expert in fishing and in making boats. Okay, making boats for fishing. Was that done? I think that it was done. Anyway, I'll not push too much into that. But if I find time, I'm going to discuss that one later or sometime. That is, if the events which are about to happen allow us to do so. Okay, good. So this is the sign. This sign appears on the 23rd of September 2017. 23rd of September 70. This star, to those who do astrology, or who studies the cosmos, okay, the stars, they say this star, this arrangement of stars only occurs, okay, it only occurs once in 2,000 years. Once in 2,000 years. Okay, once in 2,000 years. So they say that before 2017, the other time it occurred would have been at the birth of Yeshua, of the Messiah. Okay, and before that it would have been at the Exodus, and the other one at the flood. The flood and then the Exodus. All right, so well, that I'm yet to really find my facts on that, but this which I have is what I'm discussing now, that this arrangement comes only in 2,000 years. I've asked the question again and again, what did the Magi know? What did the Magi know? How could they come from their place 2 months before the birth of the Son? How did they know it was about to happen? How did they know? They studied the stars. They knew the birth of a king was about to happen. And they searched over the scriptures of the Hebrew people. You know why they searched the scriptures of the Hebrew people? Because the Hebrew people were in captivity in their land. And they left this knowledge, because you know how the Hebrew people left the knowledge there? Because at one moment the chief of the magicians, the chief of those wizards, of the wise men, was Daniel, the Hebrew. And he taught all the magicians, he taught them all these things. So they knew, they kept these words, they knew. And when the time had come, they pursued the prophecies. And they met the Son at his birth. And when he was born, they brought for him frankincense and myrrh and gold, okay, as presents for the king that has been born. Imagine if the whole of Israel had known about this birth. No. Imagine if they were searching for it, if they were waiting for it. What joy could have happened in Bethlehem. What joy they would have been in Bethlehem. But they were not. They were busy with other things. No. They were busying themselves, living like the heirs of the inheritance of Yahweh, of their fathers. They were calling unto their father Abraham, Jacob and Isaac, Avram, Jacob and Isaac, okay, and Isaac. They were calling to them. Was that wrong? No. No, but maybe yes. Because when the arrival of the Messiah came, one of their own, they did not know about it. They did not know about it. Even when it was given to the shepherds, they would not know about it. All right. So the next slide, I just gave it so that you guys can appreciate that without the images of the woman and the lion as in the last slide, okay, you find to your extreme, as you're watching into your device, okay, to your right side would be exactly what they had observed. Okay, it would have been exactly what they would have observed. Okay, but they were people who studied the stars. They knew this thing, which they knew was these stars which had aligned: the Venus, Mars, Mercury, the Sun, Jupiter, and the Moon. They all aligned perfectly. They aligned perfectly. And that alignment was the unusual thing. Okay, so the Magi, what could have happened with them was that they saw the alignment coming. Okay, it had not formed, the alignment had not yet formed, but they saw and understood that the alignment is about to merge, is about to make. Okay, and in that time of the Magi, you see on this slide, on top there is to your left there is Venus. As you look into your gadget, there is Venus, Mars, and Mercury. So the star in between, that Mars, if you go, they describe it as the warring angel. The warring angel. Okay, but when you go way back, I can do this, but then I don't have time. I could do it on my device and show you. So I have an application which can simulate the stars, the movements of stars, okay, over a period of time. So I can push them back to the time when Yeshua was born, okay, and when we go there, you would find that this Mars, okay, it swaps its middle position, okay, it swaps its middle position, I think with is it Jupiter? All right, I'll have to verify with my notes. So the Jupiter, whichever star is coming there, I'm not sure if it's Jupiter, but it is called the star of a king, or it's called the kingly star. This is why they had to say a king is to be born, and they referred back to the writings of the Hebrew people. Unto, O thou Bethlehem of Haran, thou small among all the people, but in thee shall be born a king unto Israel. They're like, wow, a king is to be born. No. In Bethlehem is he to be born. All right. So this star was seen. Now listen to Revelation chapter 12, what it says. Revelation chapter 12. Now go with me to this next slide. Wow, this is where it becomes interesting. So one part I need to explain is why I chose to say for the unto 2,300 day prophecy, I used a day for a year principle. And now when I come to Revelation, okay, especially the one that we have in Revelation 12, I'm not using the day to a year prophecy. Why is it so? Okay, because in Daniel chapter 8, okay, so I made one presentation on that. Wow, people are not listening, but what do I do? Maybe I have to speak myself again and again. Okay, so if you read chapter 8, and after reading chapter 8, go and read chapter 10 of Daniel. All right, then you understand why. Because in chapter 10, the correct chronology of those chapters would be chapter 8, chapter 10, and then chapter 9. Okay, you will see why. Because when you read chapter 10, he will say, this is after Daniel was given the great strange vision, which was for a very long time, and the vision is true. And he specifically mentions that it is for a very long time, and the vision is true. So, if it is for a long time, then if you look in the vicinity of the prophecy, you could not use a day to a year principle. All right? This is why I moved to a day for a year principle. But when you come now to Revelation chapter 12, why I will not use a day to a year principle, I'm guided with Matthew 24 verse 22. Okay? Because Jesus, he alludes that no, this is not going to be a long time. This is a very short time. It's going to be a short time, because if it were not so, even the very elect, no one would survive. All of them would be killed. So it has to be a short time. You cannot use a day for a year principle. So, for example, wherever it was used, the day for a year principle, on this writing of Revelation chapter 12, you'd find that the time already expired, but the things that which were foretold in that chapter had not even come to positions. Okay? You get the argument. So that time, those times have to be cut short. If you read Revelation chapter 10, it says that for the time is just but short. Take the little book and eat and preach about it, because the time is limited. Where the time is limited, I chose to take them as they were, the days as they were. All right? I've seen some, they actually, when the times are short, they are calculating hours to be some months, and so no. For half a time or half an hour, this is a momentary point. Okay, a momentary point. If ever you're gonna equate it to anything, which could be a half a day. All right, it's a momentary moment of silence. By that I was referring to Revelation chapter 9. Yeah, should be Revelation chapter 9. Back to chapter 12. All right. So when you read there, you see, wow. Now let me put some sense. Now you see how the sense, how it drives. So the sign is seen. We put a date. We said it is September 23, 2020. The sign I just showed you before. Okay. Or later on you can rewind and check the sign, what sign it was. Okay. But when the sign is seen, all right, in Revelation chapter 12 verse 6, he says that, so let me go there. Revelation chapter 12 verse 6, all right, and he says that now the woman was about to give birth. This is is alluded in verse 1 and 2. The woman is about to give birth, and I have said that the woman who is giving birth is not the woman, the physical, but it is Zion giving birth to a nation. This is a spiritual concept. Exactly the argument or the discussion of Nicodemus and Jesus in the park in the night. You remember John chapter 3 verse 10. And Jesus told him that the birth that I am referring to is not the physical, but it is one that is born of the Spirit. When the Spirit moves the people, and then in that time, you cannot see the Spirit, but you shall see the trees as they move and change direction. Those who are going to be born, especially in this time, are not going to be born as physically you can see and identify. But one thing for sure, you should see the change of character. There is a certain sounding of the trumpet. They begin to go into unusual platforms. They begin to do things that were not expected, the unexpected things, because they have moved into the platform. The Holy Spirit has begun to work within them. They are the nation that is to be born. How will they rule with an iron rod? Someone is asking, I can hear that. But these are going to rule with an iron rod, and this ruling with an iron rod was referred to the Messiah. This is Psalms chapter 20, Psalms chapter 22, chapter 22 or 21. The right way he says that, and he shall dash them with an iron rod. Okay? But then you forget that in Revelation chapter 3, he actually promises to one of the churches that to those who shall endure to the end, I shall give them an iron rod to rule with me. Amen. Somebody say amen with me. Okay. So the son to be born in this is a nation that is being born. And he's been born, and exactly at the end of 1200, because now the woman is fleeing with a child who is about to be born into the wilderness. La 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 la. Get a look into this. The woman, imagine a pregnant woman, and is fleeing with a child that is 9 months old. He is about to be born. So what happens? He struggles for a 1260 days, Revelation chapter 12 verse 6, with this baby into the wilderness. Yeah? Yes. And as this is happening, there now becomes a war in heaven. Michael and his angel, he fights the devil. La 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 la. Yes. They fight. You remember the issue with Gabriel when he's coming to Daniel chapter 10, where he says that, man, I was coming to you, I was coming fast. And then the prince of Persia, he delayed me, and he was wrestling with me. You know, if it wasn't for Michael, the archangel, who came and rescued, this mission could have failed. But thank God, he came to the rescue. And this is the pictorial that we have. Okay, this is the argument, the fight. This is a cosmos picture. Okay, and he is saying that this time the woman is starting in effort and is gonna take 1260 days. This brings us to what? A date that is past, 13 March 2021. Exactly, you can calculate that, okay? In the Jewish perspective, it could have been a year, their year, okay, would have been 12 by 30, okay, which will give you 1260 days, okay? So, this then is you come to that date. What you expect there is that the woman, the child to be born, the conception, the child can be seen. The child just landed. The spiritual child just landed. He has been born. No. A nation has been born. A nation has been born. Now, I would not tell brothers and sisters, but there are some who have appeared to me and I have seen them. Okay, I can mention by names, but what is it for them? That they beat their hearts and say we are on the right course? No. But this is the point, that they have been born. And see, then what happens? Go to Revelation. See how interesting this is. Go to Revelation. So okay, the one in blue I'm going to explain after I go through the time. Okay, then see what is happening at each and every division. Okay, and I'll give reference for that too. So now the period we have entered into, a time, times, and half a time. Revelation 12:14. For the woman, Revelation chapter 14, let's read that. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. Let me connect here for you. Now the dragon saw that he was cast to the earth. This is the time that has passed. And you know where it links? It goes to Daniel chapter 7, verse 25 and 26, that in this time the seat or the thrones in heaven were set, and the little horn was judged. He was judged. When he was judged, what happened? He was thrown and kicked out, and no place was found for him, was found anywhere for him. And the messenger here in Revelation 12, he is crying, woe unto the inhabitants of earth, woe unto the inhabitants of earth, because he has come, him and his angels have come. No, this time is different. It's not like before, where like Gabriel, Uriel, and other messengers are coming and going, coming and leaving. Okay, so would happen. Lucifer and his angels would come and leave, come and leave. No. This time they are here to stay permanently. It's a done deal. There is no. I know people, they say that when Jesus said that I saw lightning coming down from heaven, by that he referred that Lucifer was thrown out of heaven, and exactly at the cross he was thrown. No. You jumping the gun. That is jumping the gun. That explanation is jumping the gun. Now is the moment. Voila. Mark my words. From this time onwards, where we are going, now onwards, he is going to reveal himself. He will reveal himself for the coming time, a time, times, and half a time. He is going to reveal himself. Surely he will. I don't know what you were injected. But some which I saw is that they injected his DNA in you. That's what they were injecting people. The DNA of this Luciferus, the Luciferian agenda to inoculate people experimentally with the DNA, foreign DNA of these fallen angels, hoping by this that they can manipulate the mind, that it will reject by that the teachings of the word of Yahweh. For this and that subject going like that, come after other time, okay? Another time, come inbox, we can schedule time. I'll show you the evidence, I'll show you the data. It is there. We are dealing with something that is subtle. For fear of what you don't see, you've received something that is not what you ever thought it was. All right? Okay. No. Let's stop that subject. Stop, park it. Okay? Inbox if you want. All right? So that is the time. And now it is saying that and when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, this is 13, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. He persecuted the woman. Haven't you seen the traits of the woman persecuted? Haven't we closed churches for now almost a year? Haven't we closed them churches? Haven't we? Don't tell me that there is a pandemic. I say that purposefully. Pandemic. Don't tell me there is. But if you don't see that which is spiritual, that this have taken away the freedom of worship, the liberties of worship, then you are missing the point. You are on the wrong platform, my brother, my sister. All right? Yes. And then the last part, which is interesting, which is Revelation chapter 13 verse 4. Revelation 13 4 verse 5, it says, and they was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. So after he had done that, he has come, he has persecuted, he is continuing. Meanwhile, The remnant are nourished in the desert. Nourished in the desert. Now you don't have organizations, institutions which are still speaking the truth. All are gone. 42 months, he continues to speak the great words of abomination. And now this one who speaks this Revelation 13:5 is what Gabriel is explaining in Daniel chapter 8 verse 25. Okay, 24, 25 and 20, 24 and 25. He understands from verse 23, one who's gonna come who understands dark sentences, and this guy by vice he is going to trick people. By vice he's going to trick people. And when he's tricked people, what is he going to do? He's going to speak things against the Most High. But this part was not expounded in the book of Daniel. It was given to who? It was given to Ezra. We coming to Ezra. Okay, so the 42 months then, if you push them from August 2024, they are going to come to 2027. All right, April to from April, that's the beginning of the Jewish year, to round about Tishri 1. Tishri 1 will be the Feast of Trumpets. Okay, yes, it could be any time from then on. All right, these things are not fixed. It's the revelation comes with time. Okay, it's not all at one point, but I discuss as I'm given. Okay, and it's given at that moment. That's what I discuss. So they can seem to change, but they are there. All right, there's some which appear already as fixed. Okay, they are fixed, and they are as they are. All right. Yeah, I think I have visitors here. I'm sweating too much. Anyway, we'll proceed. There are many on our side, all right, then they are against us. So what's going to be happening, or what was happening, or what should we expect in these phases, these three phases? The first one, the 1216. Okay, this is where I was talking about the total closure of churches. Okay, the one guy who didn't close churches there, he is past now, he's gone, he's dead. Okay, so the total closure of churches, one guy who did not close churches, he's gone. He's gone. He's gone. He's gone. I salute the brother. I salute the brother. I hope his name was written in the book of life. I hope. I'm gonna meet him one day and shake his hand, because exactly that position was my position. But where am I with no authority, with no status? I wouldn't have asked anyone to do anything, but we did, because in the last days those who worship will worship in truth and in spirit. They shall not go to Jerusalem, neither to the mountains. The Samaritan woman. Okay, restructuring of church organization. Okay, which places haven't you seen churches being restructured? Okay, yes, restructuring. In my current location, this have been a great thing. Actually, you'd find some Seventh-day Adventist churches now registered under Anglican. The restructuring is massive, and it's damaging, because you see, no one else can preach except the guy who is registered under the Anglican system. Is the only guy who can preach. If he is not there, there is no church. Just imagine the depth of where we are and where we are going. Okay, the depth of it. So the churches or the congregations are at the mercy of an individual. Whatever he is teaching, whatever he preaches, it is him. If he is not there, if he is sick, if he coughs, there is no church that day. What a pity. What a pity. People hanging in, just hanging in. For what? The thing is already dead. Okay? It's already dead. It's already dead. Open your eyes. Wake up. It's already dead. Universal alignment of doctrines. The other thing which was happening, universal alignment of doctrines interfaith relationships. We have seen the economical movements, and one of large is where relationships have been built and contracts, pacts have been signed between religions, interfaith relationships. These, what they are doing, the mandate thereof is to belittle extremism. Okay, what they call extremism is those who want to stand on outright structure of fundamental beliefs. Those will be dealt with, all right, especially in the era where we are going now. Having started this half beginning month, listen to Abraham. You think I'm lying? Okay, you think I'm speculating? Wait and see. You would call me, okay, but I hope it will not be too late. My biggest fear why I continue to do my presentation even though people ignore is that I hope it will not be late to react. I hope it won't be late. All right. So in the second phase, in the times and after time, this is individual remnant trials. Okay, state imposed laws, religious liberties are removed. But in the same instance is one thing which is interesting is the divine intervention, the divine intervention. This is untold, unprecedented, never been discussed before events. Never been discussed before events. These shall begin to happen, and the witness, this is the point, this is the stage now. The witnesses, the two witnesses of Revelation chapter 11, the two witnesses of chapter 11 verse 3 going onwards, these shall stand, and these shall stand before the Lord, before the King of heaven and earth, just as Elijah did. And these, they shall have power in them to call upon the fire to come, if they deem it to come. If they deem that there will be no rain, if they call this witness, it shall be so, because they will be protected. And then my Bible says, it tells me that these are going to be protected even beyond the works or the efforts of the evil one. These are going to be protected. They are untouchable. Whoever wants to touch them will die. Whoever wants to touch them will die. And they are to be revealed. The time we are going now, they are to be revealed. They're coming. They are to be revealed. These witnesses are to be revealed. The time now has come. So far so good. I'm the watchman and I preach on the walls of Zion. I teach on the walls of Zion. This is what I do. Okay? But if it comes to the witness, these God power, these walk like Elijah. These walk like Elijah. You remember on Mount Carmel? These walk like Elijah. These walk, they have the power. And you know the statement why it is they equated to the olive branches. It is the vision in Zechariah chapter 4, where the message is being given to Zerubbabel and Joshua. Okay, it's saying, not by power, not by mighty, but by my spirit, says the Lord. You will not be these witnesses are not going to command by power. It's not by force, but by the Spirit, says the Lord. The two witnesses shall stand before the Lord of heavens. Okay, and then the last one. The last 42 months. These are going to be tough, because even the witness themselves, they are going to be given up. God is going to give them up. All right, He's going to give them up, and their bodies will not be buried. They shall lie down in the streets, and all the people shall laugh or shall make fun. They shall take selfies. They shall mock. The persecution that time is what Daniel chapter 12 verse 1 is referring to. Daniel chapter 12 verse 7. All right, that there has never been like that before. Never before. Never before. And this is the time when John is saying that I saw drones flying. Okay, he says I saw drones flying. They are going to use every technology system to track down the remnants, those who would have taken a step back from our organized societies and technology. They would have taken a step back and start to rely themselves on what they can make. Okay, these are going to be deep down there, all right, in the fields, but they are going to be tracked. They're going to hunt them like animals. They are going to hunt them down like spray them like locusts. This is what they're gonna do. And John saw them. John saw drones. When he's saying I saw locusts flying that had tails and stings, they stung with the tail and they spit fire. He saw drones. For sure he saw drones. No. John saw drones. He saw drones, but you couldn't see it. You see, you couldn't see it. But now we saw. I'm gonna come with that a part of Revelation. Okay, when John saw drones. I think I did that one time, but it was just a question. But now I see the reality. I see the reality. It's gonna happen. They're gonna hunt them remnants like mushrooms. Okay, gonna hunt them like hunt people like mushrooms. And this is the part that I like. Revelation chapter 12 verse 11, that they loved not their lives even unto death. These are the remnants. They're gonna stand like Jonas and Joram. They're gonna stand like the brothers and say, we cannot do other. It is not right. I remember my master guide classes. Yeah, wow, my master guide classes. It is not right for a Christian to speak against his conscience, to stand against that which he believes. It is not right. Now I cannot do that. Please help me, God. And they would burn the gentleman. They would burn him. And as they burn him, he begin to sing a song. I don't know. I don't know what Has was singing. I don't know. I have no idea what the parting lips of Has, what they say. I don't know. But I want to imagine. I want to imagine Has. I want to imagine Has burning on the stake. And he's saying, just like Brother Stephen being stoned, but for us when he was burning on stake, and I want to imagine he is singing, "Watchmen on the walls of Zion, tell me, what time is it? Have the signs been seen? Have morning drawn near? Is it time yet? Has the time come?" And I see Brother Huss, he was there, he stood there. No. You have no idea. You have no idea what is coming. But the point why I brought this is that they loved not their lives even unto death, because of belief. Because of belief, they loved not their lives even unto death. And Yeshua, he gives an admonition. He says, those who preserve their lives shall surely die, but he who will not preserve life shall give off his life. Him shall have his life restored back to him. Here is the patience of saints. Here is the patience of faith. Revelation chapter 18, verse 12. Here is the patience of the saint. He who takes into captivity, he who kills with the sword, the same shall be killed with the sword. Go straight into the lion's den. Go straight. Do not look back. Do not think to save your life. Go. I've talked this one much, okay? So that will be the time. Then will be the time. But the time has to be cut short. The time has to be short. You know why it has to be short? Because the number of them who are going to die It's just going to be too much. All right. Yes. So let me move on. Yeah. Now this is the last part. Okay. Now this is the last part. Now this is the part you need to hear. This, Lala. I was thinking to break them, but anyway, people can watch. You can download actually my video, watch it over time. Okay, you might not have to watch them like continuously, but you can over time you can watch part by part. Okay, do your research, follow up, and things like that. But this part now, this is the interesting one. This is what many people, this is what we haven't studied. This is not, we are not familiar with these passages that come next. Okay, Esdras, the other books which were written by Ezra. Okay, the other books which were written by Ezra. So we have the book of Ezra. And I think I like the expression in the book of Ezra that he tore his clothes. Okay, when you find that people had married from foreigners, okay, and their children would not speak their language, that was Hebrew, and it disturbed him so much that he rent his clothes, he tore his clothes. So Ezra was coming in as a priest. Okay, it was a scribe, a priest, a prophet. Okay, so when he rent his clothes, it was something else. It was utter disgust. But the measure, it is the authority or the office that he carried for him to rent his clothes. Okay, so the people you have renting their clothes, we have David. David rents his clothes. Okay. And we have who else? This priest at the crucifixion of Jesus, Caiaphas. He rent his clothes. He's saying that Yeshua has done blasphemy, and he rent his clothes. All right, and Ezra also, the priest, he rent his clothes. And when he did so, this is the magnitude where we need to understand where Ezra is coming from and who he was exactly to these people. Okay, so there's a book you can go and download. There is King James Version. They have King James Version. They have the Apocryphal. Okay, the list of the Apocryphal books. Download them. You go to the book of Esdras. Okay, we're going to do Esdras chapter 2. Verse 12. Well, the vision starts from chapter 11. Okay, chapter 11 is the vision, and then we go to chapter 12, the explanation of the vision. Okay, so just a few things. I have mentioned them. I'll just, in passing, I'll allude to them. What is interesting is how he mentions Daniel. Okay, we discussed that, just as Yeshua did in Matthew chapter 24 verse 15, that they were as a vision that was not expounded earlier on. Okay, both Yeshua and Esdras refer to Daniel 8 from different perspectives, but sure enough, they both were discussing the end times. Okay, yes, that's the point. They were discussing the end times. Esdras also have an interesting link with John the Beloved when he discussed the kings after the wounded beast from the bottomless pit has been healed. Now what we are going to discuss now, what the discussion from now onwards is about Esdras and the eagle. Listen. Now listen to what was given to Esdras. Okay. So Esdras chapter 2 verse Esdras 2 chapter 12 from verse 17 to 21. I'll read. You can follow with me. If you want, you can pause this, download the Apocryphal, King James Apocryphal, KJV, on your App Store or Play Store. It is there. KJV Apocryphal. Okay, KJV Apocryphal is there. Okay, you can download it. This is where I'm reading from. As for the voice, now, so I didn't go to the vision, exactly what he was given in the vision, but I've gone straight to the explanation. Okay, because of time, you will understand actually the explanation. As for the voice which thou heardest to speak, and that thou sawest not to go out from the heads, but from the midst of the body thereof. This is the interpretation. So at one point, Esdras in the vision, he saw this eagle had 3 heads, okay? What they call the phoenix, with 2 heads. All those people you saw with eagles which have 2 heads, they know what they are talking about. Okay, they know what they're talking about. They were reading, those people read the book of Esdras. But woe unto you, Christians who do not read this one. Okay. Okay, so all right, so he says that he had a voice. Esdras heard the voice, but the voice was not coming from the beaks, from the mouth of these 3 heads of the eagle. The voice was not coming from there. It was coming from the body, okay? From the below of the eagle, okay? That's where the voice was coming. So now Ariel is giving the explanation. Listen to verse 16. That after the time of that kingdom, they shall arise great striving. They shall arrive great striving. This is fighting. And it shall stand in peril of failing. It shall stand in peril of failing. Nevertheless, it shall not then fall, but shall be restored again to his beginning. This one sounds familiar, doesn't it? To those who read or who understand a prophecy, this sounds familiar. Let me read it again for you. It says, and it shall stand in peril of failing. Nevertheless, it shall not then fall, but shall be restored again to his beginning. Wow. It's as if it's going to be attacked, and it's as if it's going to be failing, but it's not going to fail, but it's going to be restored again. Doesn't that sound familiar? It does sound familiar. I know what you're referring. It does sound familiar. Okay, let's read on some more information before we go to the familiar passage which links with this one. He says, and whereas thou sawest the 8 small under feathers. So the feathers, they were 12 big feathers. And now he's being told, now you saw 8 which were small. So they are big feathers and they are small feathers. And you will see the difference. The small feathers, sticking to her wings. To those who rule, these small wings were sticking to them. They were married to the bigger wings. Okay. This is the interpretation. That in him they shall arise 8 kings. Those whose times, that in him shall arise 8 kings, okay, whose times shall be but small, and their years swift, okay, and 2 of them shall perish. The middle time approaching. Do you listen to my drag there? And 2 of them shall perish. The middle point approaching. 4 shall be kept until their end begin to approach, but 2 shall be kept unto the end, and 2 shall be kept unto the end. Well, this revelation, please call someone. I think I need to pause here. Call someone, share. Okay, my brother Taza has already shared. Okay, Taza has already shared. Please, someone share. Please, now where I'm going, this part, you will find it familiar. But I like the angle from where Ezra is coming from. Okay, it's different. You will see, it's different from what John the Beloved said or discussed. All right. share with them, tell them, refer them to this, to this again. All right, guys, because I'm not gonna wait. Time, I think I've taken so much time already, and I'm going to continue until I finish. Then people can watch in people can watch in stages. You just download, you don't watch it one full length. Okay, I know people don't, the constraints of time, but watch in stages, okay, because it's important that I finish all in sort of like a one shot, okay, so you can understand. It doesn't disrupt my flow or my understanding, my idea. Okay, all right. So these are the passages which link Ezra and John the Revelator. So promise me you're gonna download the Apocrypha. Okay, download the Apocrypha. Don't say I'm going to ask my pastor if I should download the Apocrypha. Voila, just download the Apocrypha. Okay, then after you read, you decide for yourself if you find it a material spiritual enough to be included in the Old Testament. Okay, don't everything say I'll ask my elder, I'll ask my pastor. You're gonna miss things which are important to you because of your elder or your pastor, whom you don't know where he's coming from. Okay, so let's find the link again. Second Esdras 12 verse 18, that after the time of that kingdom there shall arise great striving, and they shall stand in the, that's the kingdom, and it shall, so the one which is saying it is the kingdom, and it shall stand in peril of falling. Nevertheless, it shall not then fall, but shall be restored again to his beginning. Listen to verse 17, to Revelation 17 verse 8. I think this verse in book of Revelation, it alludes with or it echoes Revelation chapter 13 verse 6. Okay, it says, the beast that thou sawest was yesterday, or I was going to say in my vernacular, Nezuro. Okay, the beast that thou sawest was yesterday, was, and is not, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. If you go to chapter 13, it says that the beast receives a fatal wound as if it was about to die, but it will not. The wound gets healed, and everyone wondered after the beast. Now that's Revelation 13 verse 6. Now here it is saying, the beast that thou sawest was, is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and it goes into perdition. And it goes into perdition. And this is what you find in the explanation on the previous slide that we read, where he talks about the wings, that these are they who go to the end of time. They go into perdition. Okay, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names, and they that dwell on earth, shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. When they shall see this beast, they shall wonder. You know the reason? Their names were not written in the book of life, even from the foundations of the world. That's scary. That part scared me. I've read it before, but when I read it now, it scared me. It scared me. It was too much. Okay? Yes. That. But he re-emphasizes again. The beast that was, at the end of the verse, the beast that was, and is not, and yet is, they shall wander after this beast. All right? Let's do some parallels in this. I did some parallels. I think this will be good. Okay, so some parallels here. Okay, please bear with me. Okay, stay with me. Hear this. It says, So these are the parables. I'm trying to show you that the book of Ezra is worth reading. You have to go there. The prophecies there, what is written there is not alien. It is what is echoed in the Bible, in many other books. It is there. Listen, look at these parables. In Esdras, it is saying, the peril of failing, okay, but will not fail, shall be restored. In Revelation 17, it says, was and is not and yet is. This is something, is a transition from a state of being in power and then goes under, and then it will be reinstated again. Okay? Listen, the other thing, in Esdras, he's saying that he had 8 small under feathers, which are 8 what? Kings, he said. If you go to Revelation, he says that the 7 heads are 7 kings. Okay? The 7 heads are 7 kings. Okay? All right, I think we have a small challenge here. The 7 heads are 7 kings. Okay, someone who can, if you can see my video, if I'm still streaming on this one. Okay, all right, okay. I think we're back. Yeah, I think it was hanging there. Okay. So in Ezra, he talks of 8 small feathers, which are 8 kings. In Revelation, he talks of 7 mountains. Okay, 7 mountains or 7 heads, which are 7 kings. No. He actually goes on to say that there are 8 kings, but the 8th one is of the 7th. Voila, you will see something. Stay with me. You will see it. Okay? So these are the things which are similar in these 2 passages. The similarities within these 2 passages. But I want to go on the differences, because the differences are the clues into finding the thing. These similarities, they only show us the value of the history or what we are dealing with. Okay? And I think for me, they bring the credibility into some of the passages of the Apocryphal. The books that we have thrown away and said that they are not required or we don't need them. Okay? But there is credibility because of this thing that we're seeing, the similarities within the accepted, the canon, and those which were thrown out of the canon. Okay, the part that I want in the passage in Esdras is this last one, which is in purple and blue, okay, which says, 2 shall perish, middle time approaching. So this is translation, but what he's saying is that 2 shall perish, 2 of these kings shall perish when the middle time is approaching. Just before the middle time, 2 of these kings need to perish. 2 of them need to perish. That part you will not find it in the book of Revelation. Okay, but in the book of Revelation also, you will find something that you will not find in the book of Esdras. Okay, which is okay. So this guy is not actually. Let me. I'm actually viewing the stream from my brother. But what about the one that I am streaming directly? There it is. Yes, we are good. We're good. Sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that. I was just. Yes, how are you, Sister Dawn? Yeah, how are you? Yeah, I think traffic was slowing down my up there. All right, so the part which is unique to Revelation chapter 17 is the part which says that 5 are fallen and 1 is. That approach is unique to what John writes in Revelation 17, you don't find it in the second book of Esdras, that 5 are past and 1 is. I know many people, they have wondered, what was John referring to when he said 1 is? Okay, was it 1 is in his time as he was existing that time, or some who have come up with some should I say speculations or computations? Okay, they have other things they have. All right, but I will come back to this passage. Let me stick for now with the 2 shall perish, the middle time approaching. Let's go to the next. You will stay with me. Well, you will enjoy this one as it goes to the end. Okay, you will see what I am saying. All right, he says, and 2 of them shall perish, the middle time approaching. This is the interesting part in this explanation given by Uriel. Okay, by Uriel. He's saying 2 of them shall perish just as we approach the middle time. Okay, the middle time is the time in the middle. Okay, yes, 2 of them shall perish. So facts. The facts around this is that we know that he's going to be restored. Okay, so this beast is going to be restored. It's going to have a wound, and so it's as if it's going to die, but it's going to be restored. Okay, so we want to look into its restoration. Okay, we want to look into its restoration. All right, can we find a time when it is restored? Can the time of its restoration be found? Okay, as this will be the beginning of the 8 kings. I think this is straightforward. Okay, from both passages, I think this is straightforward. Okay, from the time it is restored shall be 8 kings, and Esdras is actually saying, no, these are not the major, the major political big guns out there, but these are the ones which run small feathers under, stuck with the political ones. Okay, can we find in whatever system or in our investigation, can we find a point where 2 kings perish within the same time? Okay, and we mark the middle point, and we can mark the middle point, and also have an understanding that 2 shall be alive to the end. Both these chapters agree with these statements. Both Esdras and Revelation and John, they agree with this point. These are facts. We can stand by this. All right, I'm not twisting anything from this. These they stand. Okay, these they stand. These are solid. Let's history recap. Okay, I'll just give a recap for you. There's a history. Okay, basically this, I'm not even going to explain nothing. I'm just going to read for you. Okay, in 1798, on the 20th of February, Pope Pius VI was taken captive by the French general, okay, Louis Alexandre Bertha. Bertha was a minister of war or chief of staff to Napoleon Bonaparte. Bertha was a warrior. He was feared. He reported to Napoleon Bonaparte. Okay, so Bertha, he entered the city of Vatican, okay, on the 10th, on the 9th of February. Okay, and they were trying to wrestle with the Pope, because they were asking the Pope to renunciate his temporal authority, okay, as the Pope, to relinquish his popery. Okay, so they were asking him to do so, and he refused. So because he refused, they dragged him out from the 20th of February 1798. Okay. Though popery continued, then the system did not really die out. Okay. When Pope Pius VI died in France, Louis, okay, another pope was chosen, okay, and that other pope again was taken captive. All right, so the church, or the popery, the system was under heavy attack. Okay, the constraints were so much, they were attacked by these French people. This is the French Revolution. This is the time with the French Revolution. Okay, just bear with me. Okay, yeah, these things do happen. So one of my eyes just died on me. So we are going to stand by. Okay. Just hang in there. Just hang on there. Just hang in there. Just hang in there. Okay, so that we should be good. Okay, we should be good anytime. We should be good. Yes, there we go. All right. So the story is said that then Pius dies, but the system, the Catholic, the Pope system, the popery then is the popes themselves, the rituals, the things that they did, they continued, but in underground. Okay, it was not an official thing. Whatever was heard, they were suffering attacks. Okay, but slowly but surely they began to have their space in Rome. Okay, in Italy they began to have their space. And for sure on the 7th of June 1920 they signed the 7th June 1920 they signed the Lateran Treaty, or the Lateran Pact. This was between Benito Mussolini on behalf of the government of Italy, and Pietro Gasparri, Cardinal Secretary of the State, on behalf of the Vatican. Okay, so this Lateran Treaty was also re-emphasized, or should I say re-emphasized or confirmed by the Italian Constitution in 1948, to say we observe they are a sovereign entity, sovereign state. By this time the popery was reinstituted. It was back on its seat. This is the moment the healing comes to its peak. Okay, there is no other peak you find for the healing of the wound. Okay, from that time the wound was healed, and they will begin to run. The kings begin to run. Okay, or we can begin to find the kings running from that time onwards. Okay, so this is the point. This is a fact. June 7, 1929 becomes an important date. June 7, 1929 becomes an important date, not just on my discussion, okay, but in general, when you want to understand Revelation chapter 17, and you also want to understand the book of Esdras, chapter 12, the second book of Esdras, chapter 12. If you want to understand, this date is very important, the 7th June of 1929. This date, we put it on the table. Okay, so what I've done, I've marked that date. We're gonna use it later on. Okay, so now we need to somebody was preparing these notes in a rush. Okay, so now we need to find a time when two such kings, now we need to find a time when two such kings, i.e. the popes, die together, or just about the same time, within a short space of time. I bet you've never heard this story, okay? You've never heard this idea of the popes who died together. You know, the popes who died at the same time. You've never heard this, right? Yes, tell me yes. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to me, okay? Try to say no. I know you don't know. No, maybe you know. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Okay, maybe you know. So, why we need to find this year where two popes would die together? Because the book of Esdras said that two of them shall die just before the midpoint, to the end of that of the reign of these popes. Okay, so if we find two popes who die at the same time, we can find the midpoint. I think that's simple English. Yeah, do I need to come again? Okay. Esdras, the book of Esdras, the book of Esdras say, can I go? I don't want to flip back, but then you can stop and just go back. All right, there is what the book of Esdras say was that when I read the whole passage, the passage, 2nd Esdras 12, 17 to 21, there's a part where he said that, and two of them, that's verse 21, and two of them shall perish, the middle time approaching. Okay, and two of them shall perish, the middle time approaching. 4 shall be kept until their time begin to approach, but 2 shall be kept unto the end. So you hear the statement now. We have the midpoint and to the end point. So the midpoint we're referring here, we cannot second guess it's a midpoint to somewhere else. It's a midpoint to the end point, okay, or to the end. This is what we have here, okay, and this is the interesting part of the account that is given by Esdras, okay. Now the midpoint would be the year after, because he says that they would die midpoint approaching. The year they die is not the midpoint, but the midpoint is what is approaching. It's towards the midpoint, which I think fair enough to suggest that they would die this year. The next year that is coming in the Jewish calendar then would be the midpoint. Okay, then would be the midpoint. So there are two concepts when I was trying to understand this one, which I found which can be valid. Okay, so I'm trespassing over my own slides. Okay, so before I go to the midpoint and story, do we have the year where we have two popes which die at the same time? 1978. What happened? It is called the extraordinary year of 3 popes. Okay, the extraordinary year of 3 popes. I was actually reading in history. They say what happened in 1978. Okay, it last occurred in 1605 AD, long back in that year. In 1605, that's when this thing last happened, where 3 popes exist in the same year. Okay, which tell you that the thing that we are looking for is a rare account that you can find. Okay, and this now is saying that 1978, what happened really, what really happened, okay, is this. yes, we have these three gentlemen. Okay, we have three gentlemen. So what happened is this. In August the 6th August 1978, okay, Pope Paul the 6th, he dies. Okay, he dies, quite aged at 80. He dies, he passes away. Okay, and they did their ceremony, what they do, and white smoke comes up. They say, voila, here we are, we found the replacement. The replacement was called Pope John Paul the First. This is where it gets interesting. Pope John Paul the First, he died the same year on 28th September 1978. This was barely 33 days after he had been in office as the Pope of the Church, okay, of the Universal Church. 33 days, he passes away. And there you go. Two popes, two kings that die at the same time. But the year they die is just one that is before the middle point. So after Pope John Paul the First dies, then comes Pope John Paul the Second. This one has the longest tenure as a pope, considering the time of the popes, starting from 1929. Okay, he has the longest. Right, he has, I think, almost like over 30 years as the Pope of the Universal Church. All right, but we are not interested in Pope John Paul II. We are interested in Paul VI and John Paul I. These gentlemen, they die in the same year, barely 2 months apart. Barely. It's actually within 2 months. Okay. When we are looking into this is significant. Like I explained to you how significant this is because the only other time when this ever happened was in 1605. That was unique. Okay, and it is actually unique for this era, for the beast. Okay, so the other thing, then we move on. So we have the date where they died. Okay, this is what he said. Esdras, he said, when these two kings die, okay, it will be before the midpoint. Okay, the time of the midpoint. So, voila, if we will not accept that, then I don't know what we want. Okay, so 1979 becomes interesting because the Jewish year begins end of March to beginning of April. Okay, this becomes the middle according to 2nd Esdras 12 verse 21. Okay, so here that's where I caught myself trespassing within my slides. What I wanted to say, that there are two concepts with this. Two varying concepts. These concepts are like, or can be as follows. Either the midpoint is where we say today is the new year. Okay, the transition from the previous year to the new year. Okay, this would be the midpoint, or the whole year from the first day of the first month. Okay, the first day of the month of Ab or Nisi to the last day of the month. Okay, so that would make 1979, the whole of it with its months, to be the middle point. Okay, but for my discussion and permutations, I used the midpoint as the starting of the year. Okay, when the year starts, that is the midpoint. Okay, there are various ways to look at it, to come angles to look at it. Some can actually pick the June the 6th, okay, to be the counting of the tenure for these kings, to say from June 6th of this year to June 6th of the next year is 1 year, coming from 1929, okay, the 6th of June, the Lateran Pact, if you understand, if you follow, that is, if you follow, okay. So I'm working from now onwards, I'm going to work with the midpoint as coming from, the midpoint is coming from the beginning of the year of 1979. So we want to calculate. So this is, if you're with me, this is simple or basic arithmetics, okay? This is simple, basic arithmetics, okay? We know the start point, we know the middle point, okay? If we can find the difference or the years in between these years, the starting time and the midpoint, if we know the years, we can just mirror or reflect the same number of years after the middle point. Then we'll come to the end. Well, to tell you the truth, I feel my energy, like losing my energy when I come to this part. It's not just scary, but the facts, they are just on point, okay? The facts are they're just on point, okay? The facts are just on point. So from when we do the math, from June 1929 to beginning of 1979, so I did my, so when you, to those who liked maths at school, okay, I know this one actually is not even at school. This is primary arithmetics, okay? When you are doing addition and subtraction, there is a part where you do what are called exclusive and inclusive additions or subtractions, okay? Exclusive and inclusive, okay? These are mainly because we go into this part of arithmetics or of math when we realize that the entities we are dealing with are actually included. When I say one, that one is actually part of the discussion, okay, and the last one is also part of the discussion, okay. So they are within, we are not subtracting as them as the limits, the outside limits, okay. They are not the limits, they are actually within what we are calculating, okay. When you do the math, this is from the first day, from the time that the beast was reinstated to the midpoint, which midpoint, these we find as facts, guys. I think I've proven you can stop this and go back and see how I came up with the middle point and the starting point. I think that's clear and fair enough. Any study will accept this. This is clear enough, okay. And the maths of it, the years between are 48 years, okay? The math between are 48 years, right? And I told you this is exclusive arithmetics. So you find them to be 48. So when we add 48 to 1979, including the 1979 itself as the starting point, okay, we add 48 years on top of that. Guess what we get? Guess what we get? Guess what we get? No. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't it amazing? Ain't these prophecies amazing? Ain't them amazing? John the Revelator, or John the Beloved, and Ezra, the Blessed One, okay, agree. Their prophecies agree, and they talk of the same thing, which same thing we have proved to come to this 2027. And you know what he's saying? He said, two of the kings shall come to that 2027. Two of the kings shall come to that time. They will be alive at that time. Two of them. It shouldn't be possible. You know why? Because every pope has to get into office after the death of another pope. That's how it works. Okay? It's not supposed to be that we have two popes at the same time. Now we have the white and the black. Okay, that's besides the point. The other black one is for the Jesuits. All right, the Jesuit pope, the one who dresses in black. But then we cannot have two white popes at the same time. Okay, this is the point. We cannot have two white popes at the same time. This is where this thing is mind-blowing. This is beyond. And you see, now I'm going to show you something. It will even crack your head. Okay? So we have these facts that the middle point, we found it, and we find the measure between middle point and the starting point is 48. We added 48 from the middle point, we come to the end, which is 2027. Okay? Now we want to see, do we have any kings? Okay, number one, are the kings amounting to 8? That's number one. Do they amount to 8? No? Do they amount to 8? And do we have 2 of them who are racing towards 2027? Do we have such a scenario? Do we have it? What do you think? Come with me. You will be amazed the accuracy of the word of Yahweh. Now, you will be amazed. You will be blown. Your mind will be blown, totally blown away. Okay? You will be blown. I have this thing. It's here. It's here. It's here. It's prophecy. It's the mystery revealed. This is it. This is there is nothing. These prophecies spoke of nothing else but this. Look here, I have 4 gentlemen. Okay, yeah, my I couldn't make them all on one slide because I was looking for the highest resolution, it really brings the things out nice. So what do we have here now? From 1929. So we said from 1929 we have the beast has his power restored, or kingdom restored. The Pope who was in office that time is Pope Pius the 11th. Okay, Pope Pius the 11th. And he had started his office from 1921, but he was so instrumental. This is where it is important. He was so instrumental in bringing about the independence of Vatican in 1929. Okay, there is the gentleman. He was called Pius the 11th. All right, he is in office until 1939. Okay, from there we have one who many think is a controversial one because his office is marred by the Holocaust and the time of the Holocaust and all these things. But what do I have to say? Nothing. I'm just listing the kings which have been there since the 1929. Okay, so the second king would be Pius the 12th. Okay, Pope Pius the 12th. This is the guy then who will be in close ties with Hitler, Mussolini. I didn't say anything. I just took this thing, okay, from internet. Don't. Don't come after me. Okay? I'm just listing some facts here. All right. So the third one would be John the 23rd. Okay, John the 23rd, and John the 23rd, he has his office from John the 23rd. He has his office from 1958 to 1963. Okay, yes. The fourth one will be Pope Paul the Sixth from 1963 to 1978. This is where it became crucial. Okay, so Pope Paul the Sixth, he dies on the 6th of August. Okay, his successor, the one who takes office from him, this gentleman here, Pope John Paul the First. His successor, Pope John Paul the First, he gets into office and he dies 33 days in office. He dies. So it's unfortunate of him, but they call him the smiling Pope. Yeah, they call him the smiling Pope. They say he had a smile from God. I wonder. The comments that people give. So it was Pope John Paul the First and Pope Paul the Sixth, who dies in 1978. This is what makes 1979 the midpoint, according to the book of Esdras. Okay, but anyway, let's continue and see what we're going to see now. We have the sixth pope is Pope John Paul the Second. The sixth pope is Pope John Paul the Second. Okay, Pope John Paul the Second. He is the sixth pope, and he reigns from 1978. Wow, 1978 to 2005. 2005. That's the longest tenure we have of a pope from this era of the beast, from 1929 until this time. He gets the longest tenure. Okay, and you'll find why he is the interesting pope. Voila. I will bring the hook. It's so beautiful. The prophecies are true. It's so okay, let me continue, but I'll bring it in the end. I will not. It's on one of the slides where you find where Pope John Paul II, why he is interesting, why he is an interesting pope, and what he achieved. What he achieved is historical and is on record, that he is the one who did what? I will not tell you. Hang on with me. Okay. So from 2005, we have an interesting man who comes in. He's called Pope Benedict. Pope Benedict the 16th. Pope Benedict the 16th. And Benedict, he reigns from 2005 to 2013. Benedict doesn't die. He resigns. This thing doesn't happen in the reign of popes. Doesn't happen. A pope is replaced only if he dies, he passes away, is replaced. But we have Benedict resigning. Benedict the 16th, he resigns. Okay, and when he resigns, guess who takes over office? Pope Francis. And guess who is the current pope? Pope Francis. So what it entails, what it means currently, today, as of today as I speak, we have two ordained popes who are alive: Benedict and Francis. Benedict and Francis. But you know what? The seventh king did not die. So his office, now this is where Revelation 17 comes into play, where Revelation 17 becomes interesting, because he says that the seventh king does not die, but he has another one continue his term. For him, he is alive. Okay? He has another one continue his term. According to Revelation chapter 17, the eighth who is going to come will actually be of the seventh. Is part of these two guys. They make them eight. Okay, so it is between Francis and Benedict. They constitute the seventh, and among them is actually the eighth. Did you get that? Did you get it? Yes. The two of them constitute the seventh, but out of them is the one who is the eighth. What is confusing about that? That's straightforward. Okay, that's straightforward. If you didn't hear me properly, go back, okay, and start again, okay, and just rewind back a little and start again. So, guys, I don't have rights to these images, okay? After you come and say pay for what? No. I don't have rights for this, okay? But I just had the honors to list these guys, I think, in some of their best beautification. Yes, they call them beautification, okay? Some of their best beautification there is out there. All right, so the one who is garbed in purple, is Benedict. Okay, the one who is in purple is actually Benedict the 16th. Okay, it's Pope Benedict the 16th, and the one who is in green is Pope Francis. Pope Francis, he takes his name from Francis of Assisi. Francis of Assisi, because he was a man of peace, so they say. Leaves a lot to study or to investigate, to go and find in the archives. Okay, who was Francis of Assisi? But anyway, this is the point, that we have these two guys. These are alive. These two popes are alive, and they constitute the eighth. And the time that we are racing towards is 2027. Both of them, they are alive. I wish them well. 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 So there we got the prophecies. Yeah. So I have done 3 prophecies in this long marathon. Okay, I have done 3 major prophecies. I have articulated how you count when they end, the 3 of them. Okay, the last one being the most beautiful one. Okay, the last one being the most beautiful one, the one that is a combination of what Ezra and John the Beloved wrote. Okay, yes. So this is it. There's no more time. Okay, let me just wrap up. Now I'm wrapping up the stuff I was discussing. Okay, so as a wrap up, okay, this I knew this was gonna happen. I was going to be quick to wrap up when I haven't explained something. Okay, and that's something which I had not explained is from Revelation 17 verse 10. Revelation 17 verse 10, because it says that Revelation 17 verse 10. Okay, 17 verse 10, it will say And they are 7 kings, 5 are fallen. Okay, 5 are what? 5 are fallen, and 1 is. The other is not yet come, and when he cometh, he must continue a short time. Okay, he it and when he may come, it behooveth him to remain a little time. So this now, my understanding, my take on this is that the one who is, so if you go back to those the popes that I was looking at, the sixth one is actually Pope Francis. Okay, so what Revelation, if you read 17 verse 8, it's as if it's saying that the 5 have gone, they have reigned and they have died. Okay, but the 6th is, okay, the 6th is, and the other is not yet come. Okay, and the other is not yet what? And the other is not yet come. All right, so it's as if you're looking at a chronological sequence as what John is writing. But if you follow that idea, you will find that it will not lead you much, because it will go to verse 11, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th. Okay, so it then becomes hazy. Okay, it becomes hazy because it's kind of entailing that, which I think, well, I'm saying hazy, but then it can be a fact. It can actually be proven to be a fact that Benedict will again become a pope. It is, that can be a fact. That is not deniable. That's what I'm calling hazy. According to Revelation 17 verse 11, okay, it says, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th. In this regard, specifically in this regard, and is of the 7th and goeth into perdition, is actually referring to, would be referring to Benedict, that he will again become pope. He will again take office again. Okay, so this is where he is come, is he, the one who is and is not. Okay, the one how it plays when you come to those two. Okay, they are sharing. Pope Francis comes in as the 8th pope, but is actually in the reign of the 7th. Okay, the one who was in the 7th, in the meantime, he is as if he is not. He was and is not, and he will be as the 8th. If you get the argument. Okay, so it's as if it's discussing Francis and Benedict. It makes sense. It could be a prediction really which comes true, that Benedict will be the pope again of the church, of the universal church. Okay, Benedict, mark my word, check this. Okay, Benedict will be again the pope, okay, of the universal church. However, when we go back to verse 10, I feel verse 10 is not necessarily talking about the chronology, all right, but then it will be referring to because it will make John Paul II to be the 7th, okay, to come into office as the 7th one, which is not so. But I think what was happening with John in this instance was that John is writing. Remember, he's writing, and his context of writing, this this editorial or this vision is based on the woman who is sitting on the beast. Ha 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 ha. You get the point now. He is saying that the one who is in the era of the context of chapter 17 the context is that John is taken to the wilderness by one of the 7 angels who held their plagues, okay? And he took him to the wilderness and said, come and see in the wilderness. Guess what happened in the wilderness? The woman before in Revelation chapter 12 ran into the wilderness. But he said, come with me to the wilderness again. I'll show you the wonder, the mystery in the wilderness. And what was the mystery in the wilderness? This is what happens with the sixth king, with the sixth Pope. This is what he achieved. This is what Pope John Paul II achieved. He achieved the image. He achieved the image of Revelation chapter 17 to tame the woman who had gone into the wilderness as in hiding or running for safety, and he tamed her to be in service to the woman, or to be in service to the dragon. Okay? I'll clarify something, because the woman, when you're talking in terms of Zion, is a pure woman, never gets filthy rags. Okay? Oh, she did get filthy rags sometime. Okay, but the Lord said, I will restore Zion myself. The Lord says he will restore Zion. But there are people who now are holding the thing is like, let me say this. When Jerusalem was destroyed, just a minute or two, when Jerusalem was destroyed, okay, it was the church. But the thing is, there are people who remained at the church, not knowing that the Spirit of God had departed. And the Spirit of God did depart with them who believed and went to Pella, the mountains of Pella, to the land of Pella for safety. Okay, those who remained in the church, they were saying, no, the Lord will fight for us, we would defend the zealots, and they perished. This is the argument here. Okay, the woman who apostatized, okay, is the one that remains in Babylon, thinking that they have the mercies or the blessings of God, and they don't. But Zion gives birth to them who did flee, or who heed the curse that says, come out of Babylon, my people. Zion is going to give birth to those people. But the woman who has been tamed to be in service to the beast, it's in this tenure, in this time, John is saying that the one who is, and that one was the sixth, and he was Pope John Paul II. And this is what Pope John Paul II achieved. People don't know, or people never took notice of what Pope John Paul II achieved. So, but rather the one is trying to highlight in which period the woman goes into 100% apostasy, in which era the church, or let me say Protestantism, is totally destroyed. Protestantism totally destroyed. Okay, how did they destroy Protestantism? They created the World Council of Churches, pushed the economical agenda. I still remember 1998, they were in full force. They actually had one meeting in Southern Africa, in one of the cities in Harare. They had a meeting there. Many churches were infiltrated, and books of different orders, okay, different orders were written and doctrines severely altered. Actually, there's one guy, What was his name? He died. This Jamaican who used to preach about prophecy. What was his name? I used to follow him. He was so keen about Ellen White to stand on what Ellen White wrote. He passed away now, but he is the guy who I started to hear the argument of the flag, the the logo of the Church of Seventh-day Adventist being changed, okay, and why it was changed. And that some of the Jesuits class, they were actually claiming that by 1980 they had already converted the headquarters of Seventh-day Adventist Church, where we still think is in Washington DC, but for them they said it's in New York. Okay, so he was giving evidence on those. I think if I find out what was his name, I'll just put as a comment under this video. Okay, if anyone will be interested to follow up, or I'll send actually the link where you can follow up. All right. So yeah, that happened. They destroyed the churches. Books were changed. Church banners were unified to an economical movement. Just try to check now. All the churches world over, all those churches, all of them, evangelical, Protestantism, this the Pentecostals, all of them, their logos, the logo for their churches, they have some things which are unique or which are common to all of them: a cross, an open Bible, flames, or a ball, or a global earth. Okay, it will have those things. Of those, it will be out of those: a cross, whether inverted or correctly positioned, but you have a cross. You will have an open Bible, okay, and we have flames, which for the Holy Spirit or for whatever form you're going to construct them, but you have a flame, and you also have the earth as a globe, or you will have a dove, a bird. Okay, you will have a bird, which is then called is the they call it the Holy Spirit, the coming of the Holy Spirit, or the church is being led by the Holy Spirit now. Okay, so all this was the economical agenda, to unify all the movements. They didn't have to force all the churches to say, listen, all of you are being called by one name. No, they didn't have to do that, to call you by one name. They made you to keep your names, but the list of the things you believe, they come from them. The order of your churches come from them. Your monies make investment to their depositories. Okay, so he achieved a lot. This guy called Pope John Paul II, he achieved a lot. Okay, so the woman was taken into apostasy. Now she continues in apostasy since then. Okay, yes, false doctrines. We still editing the books and changing things. All right, in concluding, let me say my remarks as I conclude. And you ask me, Abraham, you have been talking this for long now. It's more than 2 hours, or you're going into 3 hours. Okay, what's your take home idea? This is my take home idea. All right, that time has come in which our fathers hoped to see the redemption of our people. That's my home take. That's my home rant. That's what you need to take. That time is come in which our fathers hoped to see the redemption of our people. Okay? The time is come. Let him who readeth and understand begin to run. Begin to run. Begin to run. Okay? So, just the recap of those maps. Okay, those figures we did. So that's the 2,300 days. Okay, I put it there for you. You can see. Okay, the under 2,300 days and how it comes. I think I've put in detail. Maybe just as okay, now we have the perfect one. Okay, maybe some might want to take screenshots and rub myself and post, or ask questions with your church leaders or seniors. That's up to you. All right. And there is the second one, which is Revelation chapter 12. Okay, Revelation chapter 12, which spills to Revelation chapter 13. Okay, yeah, Revelation chapter 12, which spills to Revelation chapter 13. Actually, I think I left a lot of space. You can actually take a complete screenshot. Okay, you can take a screenshot and edit, remove me there, and you have your graph, you have your picture. Okay, yes. So and the last one was this. So one thing for sure, these days they all agree. One, they agree. The last one we did agrees about the 2027 as the last date. Okay, that we have no argument. It's perfecto. The second one, it agrees on various points, including the 2027 date. Okay, including the 2027 dates. It also agrees on the 2021 and the 2024 dates. Okay, these all agree with the beginning one, which is the under 2,300 days from Daniel chapter 8 and Daniel chapter 12. It's a combination of Daniel prophecies. Okay, the other one of Daniel chapter 9, it was for his people, and it was for 70 weeks. 70 weeks came and passed by the coming of the Messiah. Okay, yes, and he managed to fulfill the covenant for his people in the middle of the week. All right, so this is it, guys. Shalom, 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 shalom. Let me come back and say good night. Okay, good night. You have a great week ahead. Asking questions, and you can contact me if you have issues. For me, I'm very open. Ask me a question, okay? Ask me a question, I will address it. Really, I will study it. I don't throw questions because I think the person who asked me is little or doesn't know anything. Okay, I'll learn to attend to your questions. Okay, yes. So how can I really share what I'm feeling? Thank you guys, thank you for attending. Can I reveal my heart as I'm kneeling? How can I truly show truly that I love you? How can I truly say truly how I need you? How can I really share what I'm feeling? Can I reveal my heart as I am kneeling? How
can I ever learn your compassion? Covered and clothed with Christ for my fashion. Turning aside I feel godly sorrow. You confidently secure my tomorrow. How can I truly show truly that I love you? How can I truly say truly how I need you? How can I really share what I'm feeling? Can I reveal my heart as I am kneeling? How can I truly show I love you? How can I truly say? How can I say I need you? How can I really share I feel? How can I truly say? How can I truly show that I love you?